So should we be supplementing with daily prebiotics? In my opinion and from my experience, not really. So the thought behind prebiotics is to actually increase the amount of positive bacteria inside of our intestinal tract. Specifically, we want this bacteria to proliferate or grow inside of the right side of our large intestine called the colon. And this is at the end of our digestive tract below our small intestine and stomach, and it's capable of fermenting food that went undigested throughout the rest of our intestinal tract. And this is the location we want the bacteria inside of the prebiotics to be released into. But because we're simply taking prebiotics in the form of a pill, we can't control where this pill and the bacteria will eventually be released. And most of the time, the bacteria will either be released into the stomach or the small intestine. When it's released into the stomach acid will basically neutralize this bacteria and it won't have much effect. But if we have low stomach acid, this bacteria could actually begin to grow inside of our stomach. And this can actually become a little bit harmful. We don't really want an abundance of bacteria inside of our stomach because a lot of these bacteria will digest food and produce alkaline substances. This will decrease the acidity of our stomach and make it much more difficult to digest any sort of food. And this can cause a lot of bloating and indigestion, specifically in response to proteins. But if the prebiotics open up inside of our small intestine, we can develop what's called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a growth of bacteria inside of the small intestine instead of inside of the large intestine. And when this occurs, these bacteria can actually compete with our small intestinal cells for absorption of the food that we eat. And they can begin absorbing some of the food that we are meant to absorb. And this can lead to micronutrient and even macronutrient deficiencies. Additionally, when bacteria digest the food, they'll produce gas. And this causes feelings of gas and a distended stomach and the bloated look. So the reason that I don't recommend that people take prebiotics is simply because we can't control where they end up opening up. So we may end up spending a lot of money on expensive prebiotics and end up causing more harm than good. But luckily, simply eating whole unprocessed foods can increase the amount of positive bacteria inside of the large intestine. And unless we've already developed the pathologies of low stomach acid or increased small intestinal bacteria, we'll be able to break down and digest all of the important micro and macronutrients, and anything that's left undigested can help feed some of the bacteria inside of the large intestine where we want this bacteria to be.